All right, so I'll start.
What is good, artists and art lovers? It is December 19th, 2020. We are streaming live on the Evolu Culture YouTube channel as Evolu Culture Ventures presents another edition of the live virtual talk show, Next Up. My name is Sean Battle. I am your host, as well as the founder / CEO of Evolu Culture Ventures, an organization whose goal is to hold space for and inspire artists and art lovers who need it. With Next Up, we use this time to speak one-on-one with artists who also share their works, and we get them to basically explain what it means for them in their own way to be next up in their chosen artistry. Stay tuned towards the end of the night for a special announcement in regards to the future of this show, as well as other Evolu Culture programming and how we will do things moving forward. But if you have not already, make sure you are subscribed to Evolute Culture's YouTube channel. Just search for the EVOLUCULTURE. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell for all the programming that we got going on. Let me silence this here. There we go. Also, before we get into our guest for the evening, a very special guest, I want to let everyone know about, hold on. I had it with me here. Ended up having to turn things off for the sake of my ear. Hold on here. I'm a goofball, as you can tell. I also want y'all to know and remind yourself to check out evoluculture.com, the official website for the organization. There you will find various pieces of our apparel line, everything for sale with our holiday blast off sale. It is 50% off your entire checkout cart from now until midnight Christmas Day. That's automatic. Also, you can choose one particular item and get 70% off of that using the promo code BLAST. That's BLAST in all capital letters, BLAST. So that's what's going on right now, our holiday blast off sale. And I also wanted to show y'all this before we continue, because we ended up adding something here to our collection. As you can see, us at Evolute Culture, including myself, I am a poet / spoken word artist and an author. We also have books. And guess what? I'm no longer on Amazon for those who have been following my career. Moving forward, all of my books will be sold on evoluculture.com. That means more of the proceeds go towards me, goes towards the artist, instead of waiting a month like Amazon does with royalties. So if you have not already, get your copy of Profess and the Forest of Bricks, $15 each. You can get 10% off using the promo code BOOKED. That's BOOKED. So that's all going on right now on evoluculture.com. Make sure to do, and if you're looking for something that's immediate for the holidays, make sure you can look around and get gift cards as well. We have gift cards, ladies and gentlemen. So we want something more immediate and don't want to trust the delivery. That's fine. Everything's a little backed up due to the holidays and the pandemic and everything. We got gift cards for sale, $10 up to $100 worth. And whatever artist and arts lover you feel like would rock our stuff, have them come over here. You already got something that they can use for that. So once again, that's evoluculture.com for all of your Evolute needs, and subscribe to Evolute Culture's YouTube channel. Evolute Culture, follow us. With that said, it is now time to get to our guest, get to our headliner, someone whose work I've been following for a while now. You may remember her if you watched us tear it down for the Lincoln Park Music Festival, which was all virtual. We ended up making history here at Evolute Culture by curating the festival's first ever in 15 years, first ever Poetry Day. And so we went live from the Cryouts Cave, and basically we did what we needed to do, and that's speak, poet, speak. She was amongst those artists. She was amongst those wordsmiths. She is the author of Love, Discovery, Recovery, and Relapse. She is also known for some dope-ass jewelry that we will get into and many other things. It's just an overall dope person that, honestly, if Evolution Dope and Mike, our flagship show, is running, she would be one of our features for 2021. So that's why I knew we had to have her here in light of everything that's going on. I've talked enough. Ladies and gentlemen, artists and art lovers, next up, Mwikali Words.
Hey, how you doing, Sean?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for being with us. I love that background, by the way. I just had to say that real quick.
Thank you. These are art pieces. I've done it some paint and sips, you know.
Yes.
Art on.
We're going to get into all that. But first off, I said what I needed to say, but honestly, in lieu of traditional bios, poets don't tell, we show. Out. Yeah. Take it away, Callie.
All right, we'll do. I watch you sleep and want to keep you safe and want to keep you warm and want to keep you well and need to see you smile and need to know the feel of your laughter in my skin. I pray your dreams be kind to you and reveal love and life and healing. May you rest and be well and refreshed. I pray for your dreams and cannot pause the progress of the love and what it does to be seen by you. I pray your protection and your realized possibility. As you proceed to get what you need, I pray you lend me your feet, that I might ease the spaces that are aching, rub sacred oils of frankincense at the parts of life that don't make sense. I desire to slay the dragons with you. We are the knights and the royals. We are saving ourselves and each other and are aware of our crowns and the places where they seem set down for a while. We are learning how to love and be enough. We are building and breaking every chain that restrain the brain's beliefs. We are what we need. I ask God to show me what I had been feeling in the dark for. I asked God to guide my hands and open my eyes enough to recognize the love. And then there was you, speaking life in my life, rapping lyrics like arms around my soul. I feel whole and growing with you. You remind me that my healing is showing. You see me. I see you. We break ground. We turn ready soil. We do not desert the hard work. We toil more than try. We do more than don't. We place our past selves in our palms as offering, a show of good faith. And when I see you and you see me, we know we've got good taste and nourishment. You prayed, I prayed, we be heaven sent and imperfect and worth this, not because of who we are, but because of whose we are. We be God made, and God is love, so love reigns through growing pains, and trouble don't last always or long at all, because we put our words on the walls. We make our worlds available, purposely placed, and it makes it all easier than it has been in the past. We do the work to make it last and see the fruit that grows and feel the grass beneath ready toes. I have decided to love you. You have decided to love me. I choose your hands and your eyes and that smile, that smile. That smile, I see your smile in your soul, and I love you. Times infinity and beyond, I love you like a song sung well and satisfying, dug well and gratifying, and I drink deep and thirst no more. You love me and tell me until I'm sure and secure in this. Your love is sweetest kiss and consistent conversation. We learn each other, we turn each other over, listen on both sides, ride the wave, catch the vibe. Thank you for coming and staying and praying for a miracle and calling me by name. Thank you for knowing what you want in life and making it plain. It is easy, so easy to love you. That's that piece.
Yo, you got me crying over here. What the hell?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like within the first few seconds, first of all, what is the title of that piece?
It's called As You Sleep.
Oh my God. See,
Yeah.
whew, hearing that and then hearing the title, I'm immediately it sounds like a prayer. It's
Yeah,
I immediately think of
yeah.
you know, the speaker and their significant other laying next to each other, and you just think about all the stuff that they had to go through and you had to go through just to get into that moment of tranquility, and you just pray over them, just as I'm sure that they're praying over you. Like you have been a lot of the, you know, it's one thing to say that you write a lot of love poems or anything like that. It's another to embody that, and you, in no matter the topic that you touch on, you embody that. What has been, what has kept you grounded, continue writing about in that truth?
So it cut out a little bit. I heard you saying what has inspired me to write about something in that truth.
Oh, what has kept you grounded in regards to writing about love and keeping you grounded in such a truth?
Okay. Great question. I think that what has been the biggest thing is understanding that love is not the same as the relationship, right? Like a lot
Mm,
of times when I found in some cases where I've gone in spaces and, I'm like, I write a lot about love, and I hear like, somewhere every time there's a groan, like, oh, love, like, people talk about, just like being so over it. Like, I'm over love. And no, you're not. Like, we're not over love. We're over, love in the wrong hands. We're over love in people's hands where,
mm,
they mishandled the love, and so the love doesn't work because the people didn't, you know what I mean? um Love is a perfect thing, people are imperfect, you know what I mean? So I think understanding that has been a big piece of like core foundational belief, so that, regardless of what, relationships or situations look like, the love I believe in, the love I believe is a real thing.
mm.
I say God is love, I think love is God, you know what I mean? Like, that's a divine thing. When you find that, it's a real thing, it's a divine thing in and of itself. Yeah. So yeah.
Wow. And you definitely embody that.
Thank
When
you.
I could tell when a poet like embodies their work, as do many others, like Liu, rest in peace, Bria Blackberry Melange's Night, rest in peace, Jerry Gant. Those type of artists where like they live, like this is who they are. It's not an occupation, it's
Yeah,
a lifestyle.
right, right.
When did you know that? Yeah, when did you know that this was your lifestyle, like a life full of creativity?
That's a good question too. You just got all of them. So I think that for me, it was like, it started as a homework assignment in sixth grade. I remember, um, my teacher at the time. What do we have the same starter story?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I remember my teacher, she was like, yeah, I want you guys to write a poem for homework. And I was like, okay. And so I wrote this little poem. And, in hindsight, I'm sure it was just like this rinky dink little what. But when I read it, the kids were like, oh, that's dope. Write another one. You got to do another one. And I was like, oh, like I was a shy kid. So that response was, powerful to me, to see that like I can make a connection with kids that maybe I wouldn't necessarily reach out to talk to, because I was just kind of laid back, like, well, if you're gonna be my friend, you're gonna have to come over this way because I'm chilling. I'm just but it became that at first, and then growing into my teenage years, like, I was very emotional. I think I still am a bit, but it's more under control, as far as just being able to be aware of how I process things. But poetry saved me, like when I was going through things in my own mind of, how I process things and what I imagined that it meant for me, whether it meant I was a good person or not. Like, it was a big deal to me to be a good person when I was growing up, and so it was like the preoccupation with that thought, it could be a lot, so being able to write it out where I didn't have to talk to somebody who might ridicule me for my thoughts or my emotions. The paper never ridiculed me. Like, the pen was my friend, we could hang, you know what I mean? So yeah. Yeah, it started there and it just grew, and I saw that it was like, that's the partner. Poetry is my partner. You know what I mean?
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So we are definitely art twins.
Yeah.
In that regard, the difference for me was that it was junior year of high school, but
Okay.
other than that, literally the same story, right down to the homework assignment. And I waited till the last minute, like lunch period before school, before the class, the U.S. history class, to get mine done. Um, but literally the same story, and it reminds me that with poetry, that's the form of expression that we have for some people. Everything else doesn't make sense, or they're shy. They're shy in regards to being in that room.
Mhm.
So you know, and when I think about that, it takes me back to how people are able to exist within the room. Um,
Mhm.
and it takes me, how can you be yourself in
Right.
relations with everyone else? I had to go through that as an artist, going to Verbal Mayhem back in
Mhm.
2007. How do I exist among these artists? Can you take me back to your first, like, that first few open mics events where you stepped into the room and you wondered, do I belong here? And then what was the result of that?
So I feel like those moments of like, do I belong here, happen in spaces where, I'm in this room and it's a, poetry show. And I think my first like taste of getting back out into the world of spoken word, um, after a long time of like taking a break from it, was at Above Art Studio in New Brunswick.
Mm,
Shout out to the gentlemen there. Like they do great work,
detox.
no doubt. And so it was what pushed me was, okay, now I have this book. I gotta find a way to let people know about it. I guess I should like share it, right? And so,
Mm-hmm.
it started there, and it was like, oh, this feels good. Like I had been away from it for a while, and so coming back into those spaces and being able to engage with the audience in this like dialogue of sorts, right? Like you spit your line and they feel it, and there's a moment in that feeling it, that there's an exchange, like even if nobody in the room, like you just connected with everybody in the room, like. So I think that feeling. And I used to love, theater when I was young. I
Mm.
still love theater. I still love it. I haven't done a lot in recently, but um loving those spaces, it felt like the perfect marriage, like, the stage and poetry. Like I was already writing and I love performing. So let's do it. Like that's essentially, I think, what propelled it into being the bigger thing that it became later. Yeah.
Awesome. Indeed, shout outs to Above Our Studios. When did you, so you mentioned taking a break. What led you to take that break? And how did the creation, and did that break help develop the collection even further?
So the break happens, I think, largely because a lot of life things happened at the same time. I was moving into a new house, and so I was like dealing with, okay, what that is to be a homeowner. I didn't know much about what I was doing. And so, trying, to balance that, and, you know, being married at the time and preparing to have a kid, like there was all this life stuff that was happening. So I was writing, but it was like there wasn't time, there wasn't space to say, okay, I'm gonna, branch out into the world and share this, like where, and I think I put a pause on it. Like I was like, okay, that was for then, and it was nice and it was cute, but now you have to grow up. And then like growing up got really real, and it was like, ooh, everything doesn't stay the same. Everything does not remain as you expect, right? And so, but poetry was still there. An opportunity to express myself was still there. An opportunity to live and grow was still there. And so I, after some changes with that, and like, getting divorced and all that, it was like, all right, you have you. You have you. What are you gonna do with that? What are you gonna make of that? And so it was like, I gotta write it out. I gotta write it out. And so in writing it out and expressing myself, it did help, because I think it contributed a lot to rounding out what my book was going to be about, and that it would allow me a space to talk about the journey of what love can look like when it's relationship based, in the romantic sense. And to some degree, even in other ways where love lives, the discovery of it, where you're like, oh, it's magic, it's great, it's lovely. And then finding that sometimes it hurts also, and then recovering from that in a way where you're like, you know what, I'm over it, I'm not trying no more, it's over, you know, and then maybe getting back to a space again where you have hope and you relapse. And so that kind of concept that love is like a drug. We do get addicted,
Hmm.
like we want it, we got an itching for it. Yes.
I remember the back of your book, in the back of your book, uh, as well as within it, you labeled the voice as the speakers in the collection as an unapologetic addict.
Yeah.
For what you just spoke of,
Hmm.
and you can only stay away from it for so long. If poetry is that way of expressing or connecting with love in that some way, or that's with any art form, you can only stay away from it for so long.
Right.
Um, I remember, I want to say the first time I met you, It was at an edition of Evolution Dope and Mike during our Gallery 211 days. I'm not too sure,
Okay.
but I want to say it was around then. But you did have your book at that. You did have your book at that time,
Mhm.
and just seeing your strength up on stage, and your poise and your confidence was definitely something that made you, stand out.
Thank you.
What what led to what inspirations do you have in regards to your own performance style? Like, what do you draw from at those moments?
I remember moments, my poetry, a lot of it is directly connected to experiences that I've either had or that I've observed. You know, it's either a product of, having conversation with friends, family, watching things that happen, as I'm sitting in a, local coffee shop and just watch the, people watching, like back in the day when you could really do that more, um, and I would write character sketches, and I would write. I would just write. I find inspiration in so many things, and so it I think it allows for a space where there's always an abundance of the writing, and always a need to express, like to the point where it's like, that idea of just like it be, that it's electric, like the idea of it being like a buzzing in you where you
Yes.
feel it so high, the energy of like needing to create, that you can't even like do anything else until you create something. You can't sleep until you create something. I think that's why a lot of artists, you find them up late into the wee hours of the morning, because like that's the bewitching hour. That's the time where we got magic, in our fingertips, and we're just expressing, and it's a beautiful thing. And I found that it's part of discovering myself and understanding myself, that when I write my feelings, I understand them. And I think it's something that helps you grow, when you're doing that reflection. So yeah, I hope I answered that question.
Absolutely. And shout outs to my fellow night owls, as well as the people
I go to
who
bed.
work second shift, who work second shift at 3 to 11. So it's like sleeping schedules all jacked up. And this is one of the reasons why, to create such a beauty. We are live once again with Mwikali Words for the newest edition of Next Up, presented live on the Evolu Culture YouTube channel. Make sure you are subscribing and hit the notification bell. Many new programming coming in the coming weeks. But right now, I do want to use this time and get into that second piece.
For
You
sure.
have one for us, Callie.
Yes. I
All
got.
right.
All right. So let's go. This second piece, I was just speaking about inspiration. Um, I was scrolling through the gram and I saw this photo, um, taken by Amir Bilal Shabazz, author of Breaking Through Concrete. And it was such a powerful photo, and it inspired this poem. So this is Amira's poem. And there were birds that followed along the path of the arm and rose to the sky and called on the power of the fingers, meeting in one tight grasp, one poetic fist, one stronghold on the sky, one cry to the heavens with closed lips and not over here, you won't eyes. Haven't the woman been warriors to the backdrop of sunsets and sunrise? Don't the skies look like fire lately? Ain't that good? Ain't that good for finding the treasures? Are there treasures here? Is this land spacious enough in the skies for a Black woman's love to live and come home alive sometimes? Do the amber waves of grain feed all the children, or must some wait? Do the purple mountains know the feet are coming? Do the shining seas still taste like the libations that were bodies breaking into water, determined to be free? Do the birds know what's up enough to align like a constellation along the arm of a Black woman wearing war like love? Because what is more loving than fighting for what is beautiful at best and what is old at least? Hasn't the beauty known when to beast on these streets? Close your eyes. Imagine spacious skies that don't eat Black lives before their time. Imagine purple mountains moving to meet the feet of the forgotten. Imagine the warriors say, climb. Imagine the way the feet find concrete cross oceans. Imagine the sound of the people all over the world becoming one fist, risen high, never tired, never forgetting the pursuit, never forgetting how fierce and fly liberty is, never forgetting how loud the heartbeat is, how it only gets louder with each one unjustly silenced, how the heart of the people can be heard everywhere as long as there is injustice anywhere. The people will be everywhere. And that's the piece.
The people will
Yeah.
be everywhere. Yo, if that is not a call to fucking arms for real, for
That's all.
real.
That's all.
And shout outs to Mama Amira. Just
Yeah.
a treasure in the community in more ways than one.
Mhm.
With that, and just thinking about that, and the poem itself,
Mhm.
I just think about ancestry. I think about who come before and who is to come after. Um, who are those poets? And let's not just talking about international. Like, who are the local artists who are around right now? Whereas I believe in giving people their roses right now. Who are the ones that inspired Cali to keep crafting?
Mm. Love that. There's like really so many. What I found though, is I will say that as I began back into the journey of, being in spoken word spaces, um, that the community of artists that I think spoke to me most and loudest and with the kind of art that I was just like, what? Why can't more people just know you exist? Like, what is happening? I see people who are moving in Nork spaces where when they say like, Nork is a space for artists, like that's a real thing. I grew up mostly in Elizabeth, so we were like neighbors, a bit, but in going through looking for spaces to have art happen, see art happen, be a part of art happening, I found that Newark was that haven where I would see, great artists like, I am or Abai Hayes, who shout outs to him for the drop of his EP, Clarity.
Yes.
Acoustic jams, it's ridiculous, don't make sense how good it is, like, seeing artists, I think because music speaks to me a lot, so seeing like hearing the poetry and the music kind of meld in that way where there's like meditation in that art, seeing artists like, Frequency and By Mads who like the energy is like, who are you, like how do you come with all of that energy and artistry consistently, um people like yourself who are curators of, like not only artists like killing the game, but also making sure that other artists have an opportunity and have a space to share their art. Like that's a big deal, and I hope that like it matters, I think, to me, just the opportunity to gather the creatives, like that's tribe, you know what I mean? Like when we talk about having tribe, that's tribe, artists like Elliot Font, Poem, like dope art, treasure, like there are so many, like I don't even want to start the list because I know I'm going to forget because I am not a youth anymore. You know what I'm saying? But so many people, and I find that just Newark artists, like there is some kind of beauty that exists there, that I've seen, that I'm just like, I just want people to know, like I need more people to know, like it's insane to me that more people don't know, but it's beautiful every time I see them push and every time I see the journey of the creative community, and what that looks like, to see the upliftment of one another, to see these spaces for spitting poetry in forms of therapy, You know, you Evolu Culture, I know, has a host a Zoom where you give space and opportunity for people to share out, you know, your stress. Like, let's talk about it. Let's talk it out. That matters.
Yes.
You know, being able to be mentally healthy because you're giving spaces where the community isn't just about, you know, okay, spit a beautiful piece of poetry, but also, do you need to just talk? Cool, let's do that. Like, I think
Yes.
that's important. You know, it's just, I am inspired by dreamers,
Mm,
dreamers that dare to go. You know,
mm,
that's who inspires me. People who dream and I see them work in that dream. You know, because it reminds me, like, yo, sis, don't put it down. Don't put it down.
yes.
Keep going. Keep going. You know, and that matters. You know, euphony, like, what? Ridiculous. All like the artistry, like, it's too much. It's too good. It's too good. You know, I want all of it on rotation. You know, all
Yes.
art. Give me all of it.
It. Listen, I definitely agree with everything that you just said, in regards to like the artists that you named in particular, and many more,
Yes.
are what keep me going as an artist in this community. Because after 6 years, more so than that, but it definitely has its ups and downs, but it definitely has a lot of bright spots, especially now with the pandemic and just seeing how people have adapted in regards to now going mostly virtual. Blue culture has taken its time to really adapt to those platforms to see what works for us. I've seen others go right into it and doing what they can, however they can, no matter the quality of their camera or anything like that. They make it so it works. It goes back to what we say here at Evolu. Words of Triple H: in life, you either adapt or you perish. That is evolution. With that, oh, and for clarity, for those who don't know, the mental health check-in, she's talking about renew with Evolu. Shout outs to Don Krypton, the general manager, who's been holding that down. The original host and creator is Treasure Board, our president, and that happens every Thursday. Inbox Evolu Culture on Instagram or Facebook for more info on that. And it is private, it is informal. It's just about giving y'all that space, because shout out to Ghetto. We have needed that. We have needed more spaces to just create and to help us push us forward. I know as a writer, I've been struggling. I honestly should have been on them virtual writing workshops that you do on Instagram Live. Let's talk about it. What
Uh,
led you to launch that platform and do it so consistently?
so I feel it was like a fluke. Um, it started out as a desire to just want to write, and I was like, you know, maybe somebody will want to write with me, you know, and you're in pandemic and it's like, you know, you can't go outside no more. You're like you have to find ways to connect, and so, you know, having been a part of, you know, co-hosting a writing workshop prior, i it was familiar territory, and being, you know, a creative writing instructor as well, familiar territory, right? So, you know, in that space I was like, all right, let's do this. And then the the results were like beautiful. It reminded
Mm,
me of like why I love that aspect of instructing more than any other thing. Like, that the fact that I could give somebody, you know, something to start with, and 20, 30, 40, even just one, even if it was
mm,
just one person who wrote a poem that they wouldn't have written if they hadn't had that moment with me. You know what I mean? And not to give it importance because it's me, but just to think that, like, you helped birth something, you know, and it's not yours to take credit for at all, but like, it's yours to say, like, there's a joy in sharing that sort of a community, where it's like, you know, you may not know me, but you just wrote a poem inspired by a brief encounter with me, and now you can have that piece forever. You know, like,
yes.
that's powerful. It's like you become family that way. You become creative fam, like that squad now, because you shared stanzas, you know, and you may not share blood, but you shared lines, you know, you shared your
Mm,
metaphor, you know, you shared your simile, you personified some things came to life that was dead, you know, like you opened your mind up, you know, you opened your heart up, something that would have been like the end of you maybe, but somebody spit a poem that saved your life. Like, you don't know, You don't know what your creation can do. And so being in a space where you can help somebody else create something that might help somebody else, like that whole like what do they call it? Like passing it forward, right? Like,
Right.
you know, you some good happens to you, you keep it going, you pass it on, you let it rock. And that's how I think you build a better world. You know, as
Yes.
easy as we might think when those pageants happen, and the girl, you know, and you sometimes get that response that might seem trite, like you've heard it a million times. What do you want? I just want, you know, peace on earth, you know, and we kind of like make a laugh about it and we're
Right.
sarcastic about it. But like, I really think that if everyone were moving in a space where they were loving themselves, truly
Mm.
loving themselves outside of the influence of what you think love is, but truly loving the way love looks like for yourself, like everybody, like wouldn't we have that? Like, because then you wouldn't let somebody go hungry because you love yourself and know enough to know that you wouldn't want that feeling, so you'd show that love to somebody else, maybe, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that that's part of where the work goes, and that's why I think poetry is a bigger deal than just art.
Mm.
You know, like poetry is a healing art. You know, poetry is, you know, something that is priceless. You can't put
Mm.
a tag on that. Like, you can't. It goes so far and you'll never know just how far. But the fact that it can go, that's enough. That's enough.
Yes.
To know it could go, you know, and somebody will feel it, touch it, think about something. Even if they write nothing, did you think a new thing? Cool. You know, like,
Mm.
yeah, yeah.
So that's, see, everything that you just said in regards to the importance of poetry, especially when it comes to Newark and such a poetry town. The Dodge Poetry Festival is here.
Yeah.
That is true in regards to what it could mean for someone. Just even if it's just one person, like I was just thinking, because as more events go virtual, more conversation about the numbers, and I get it,
Yeah.
but ultimately you may not have 10 viewers even, it may just be that one, but that one may need something to get through to the next day, so you give them your all, and it keeps you humble in that regard, because you have to keep asking yourself, what are you doing this for? And also, we may not share blood, but we share stanzas. First of all, that whole statement, there was a lot of hashtag first lines in there. I'm just saying that right now. Second, because I know you released, you got hoodies out and everything, you got merchandise out. Is that on one of the hoodies? If so, it needs to be.
You know what? And it's funny that you say that, because a lot of my apparel ends up happening from conversation and it's taken from poetry. So like, I have some hoodies that are taken from lines of a poem. I have some pieces, like one of my pieces was birthed out of a text conversation where like one of my coworkers was telling me about how well her daughter was doing on some testing stuff. And I was like, oh, dope. Her brain has legs for the stretch. And she was like, what? Her brain has long legs for the stretch. I need that. And I was like, okay, you know. And then what became a gift for her and her daughter became just another shirt on the line. So I have an example.
Eh, eh, eh.
So this one says, make space for wings to grow.
Mm.
It has, I like this one because it has wings on the back to remind you, like, take
Hey,
flight, my guy.
there
Like,
you go. There you go.
yeah, like I like the idea of just having different opportunities to spread a positive message and to remind people to be kind to themselves, because the world is hard enough.
Listen,
So be kind to you, because if no one else will, you should be, you know?
yes,
So, yeah.
definitely be kind to yourself. I had to keep that in mind this past year
Mhm.
because brain going crazy.
Right.
Trying to figure out how to keep the brand surviving and it's not surviving, thriving and
Right.
everything. And that led to finally us doing our apparel line. We may need to talk, uh, just a network and to do some type of exchange because I'm still learning the apparel game, still learning the merch game. Um,
You're doing your
you know,
thing.
I don't know if I'll ever be able to create jewelry like you do. Like, let's talk about what I've been seeing, what people have been seeing this entire interview. Like, because I know like a good chunk of that, that's all you. That's the Cali May collection.
That is, yeah, yeah. So what we have here for the Collie May collection is we have like jewelry with words. So these say wish, wish, nose cuff things and lock jewelry. All of this is, my work. Some bracelets here, I recently made this piece. I think this was actually yesterday I made this. I was feeling one of those creative bursts I was talking about. I've made like 15 new pieces. This was one of them as well. It's like a knuckle. Reminds me of Mr. T, the 18. You know
Yes,
what I'm
a pretty
saying?
fool.
I pity the fool, that don't get some Collie May collection. Not to call nobody a fool, though, yeah. But and this one, so I make pieces that range from like simpler little, pinky rings, simple ones, to the more dramatic pieces, So yeah, I enjoy it. I think it really brings me joy just to see people rocking it and really like having it as like one of their favorite pieces,
Mm,
I'm like, oh my gosh, like you really love it. You didn't just like buy it to support, like you really dig my stuff. And it's like, when
mm-hmm,
you're first starting out and you're still trying to figure out, like, I know I like it, but I don't know if everybody else will like it. When you get over that and realize, like, no, other people like it too. Like you're not alone. That feels good. And I like the idea of people being able to wear pieces that make them feel empowered, make them feel like, yo, I'm a boss. Like even if things are not going 100% the way I need them to go, like that's how life goes. Like if everything is going exactly as it should go, maybe I'm not trying hard enough. Like, there are new spaces I should be looking into conquering and exploring because maybe I find a new realm of myself, So
mm.
I hope that in all of the things that I create, whether it be hoodies or hats, which I also do have, and and jewelry, whatever the piece may be, reading the book, I hope that people are inspired to feel love, to feel a sense of there's a chance for you to grow and for you to go in the direction of your dreams. Always, you have to, like if you do nothing else, you have to give
Yes,
kindness to yourself to like go for it. Yeah.
yes. I know La Presidenta Treasure has a couple of your pieces, and she's just been rocking it as well consistently. When did the jewelry start for you?
So I started making jewelry, I want to say about like 8 years ago, maybe. And it started because I had this beautiful necklace that I loved that had like beads on it or what have you, and it broke. And I was like, I've always kind of been a person who second guesses the throwaway. Like I'm not like it's broken, throw it away. I think about it for a second, like, can this be made into something else? Right.
Mm,
So I was like, can this be made into something else? And so I, I grabbed what I had at the time. I had like a paper clip and I ended up making like a ring out of some of the beads and some earrings out of the other one. And I didn't know anything about it. I was just like, let me just see. Like I just had my hands in this wire and I was just like, let's see. And then I was like, oh, this is fun. This is therapeutic. I feel good. I want to do this more.
mm,
And so as I continued to do it, I was like, I have too much. I can't wear all of these pieces that I'm making. So I should maybe sell them so I can afford to keep making them. Like I literally started with where it's like, I'm selling the jewelry because I want to make more jewelry. Like
mm.
I want to fund my passion, and then it became something bigger as time went on, and I decided to, formalize it a bit more with my website, which you can find at www.thecolliemaycollection.com. That's Collie with a K. But yeah, and I love it. I enjoy it, and it brings me peace. It definitely
Yes,
is a
yes.
stressing type of thing. Yeah.
So, I don't know why I'm asking this. Maybe I'm just thinking about something in the future. Do you make has anyone ever asked you
Mhm.
to make a ring for a special occasion? Like, say they decide to propose to somebody. I mean, has that ever happened to you? And if so, because it may not be like anyway anytime soon, but I'm just thinking. I know if I ever want to do something like that, or propose to someone, I do want to have that ring be created and
Yeah.
show that appreciation and go that extra mile. Has that ever happened to you, like an engagement or a special occasion, anything like that?
So yes, actually, and it was really exciting because one, I, really admired the person who requested it, because they are also an artist. And, I had never gotten the request to make a ring that was going to be worn as the wedding day ring. This was not the engagement ring, but this was a ring meant specifically for the wedding, containing the wedding colors, and it turned out so well. And it was something that I wouldn't have made. Like I wouldn't have thought of those colors necessarily. So I love that. I love that when it's like a customer asked me to make something and it's something that I never would have thought of, but then I'm like, ooh, that's nice. Like I might have to try to duplicate that, which is not always easy, which I like, because then it means everybody's getting really a one of a kind piece, even if it's similar, nothing is exactly the same.
Absolutely. So we on the website right now. I just shared my screen.
Mhm.
The Cali May collection. We have looks like we got a snow day sale going on here.
Yes, we had a snow day, and I was like, you know what? I feel like, we should have, but what's interesting? Let me tell you, the story of this sale was actually quite funny. And I love this story because it's an example of my philosophy on life. So I had posted about a song that I created, and I was sharing that. And in the song, it was kind of like song slash poem track, right? So there were two poems on one track, and so I posted, and I was like 2 for 1, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
I tagged some people in it, and one person was like, they retagged it and they tagged it as like a sale, like 2 for 1. And I was like, oh, that's not what I meant, actually. But then I was like, but you know what? It's a snow day. People deserve a sale. I'm okay with that. I was like, as a matter of fact, I want to shout you out for that. So the artist Frequency, that was her. She was like, oh my bad, but like she was like, you sure, you sure? And I was like, no, I'm sure. I like this idea of letting people have that opportunity. You buy 2 pieces, you get one free. Because I value my customers, and like I said, it really brings me joy more to just see people with my stuff on. Like,
Yes.
making money is, extra money is nice, but like really getting to see people rock it. And, like I was watching one of Shelly Farrell, amazing artist, photographer, all that. She was reposting one of her music videos, and like in the music video, I'm like looking, I'm like, wait a minute. And I'm like, that's the pinky ring I made that she got from me. And I was like, I love that. Like that my pieces can travel places that I may not be, where it's like I feel like a little bit a part of that way, and I think that that's cool. So yeah.
Yeah. See, even through our slip ups, so-called slip ups, we
Yeah.
end up creating some type of magic.
Exactly,
My
like it's
goodness.
alchemy. It's alchemy. You take, and I feel like that connects to that story about the jewelry, where it's like I like to take things that seem like they're broken or seem like, oh, that was a mistake or that was an error or that's a whatever, and taking it and being like, nah, wait, what's beautiful there? And I think that that's what poetry is. That you take sometimes the pain, and you take sometimes the things that are broken and in pieces, and poetry lets you put it back together, right? And make it something beautiful, even if it is about pain, even if it's about something ugly, it can be a beautiful piece, so
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, yes. I'm just looking through the YouTube chat real quick. Got
Okay.
a couple comments here. If y'all got questions, feel free to drop them in here. I see Noel from Poets with Purpose
Mhm.
talking about the night owl comments, and for real, that's sometimes the best time to write. I will admit that. Um, some comments about the second piece, lit poetics. This one preach. Um, and we're also saying, yes, it's always great to connect with other artists who are sources of inspirations. So we got some people watching and taking in everything. Once again, this is Next Up, presented by Evolu Culture. Catch these vibes. We are here with Mwikali Words, poet, author, Joy. We're about to get into the book real quick. Please also check out the CaliMadeCollection.com for all your jewelry needs. God willing, I find that special someone, I may be hitting you up to get that ring created.
Oh, hit me up.
So let's get into. We touched on it a little bit actually, in talking about love. discovery, recovery, and relapse.
Yeah.
Um, you know, just going through the collection itself,
Mhm.
and you give your time to every single aspect of love in a sense, classifying it as that drug, as that's something that we need, something that we are addicted to. Um, when you think of discovery, when you think of recovery, and when you think of relapse, what has been, like, when you go back to the collection, what has been your favorite poem that exemplifies discovery, that exemplifies recovery, that exemplifies relapse?
Mm. Wow, that question. I should have been ready with an answer to that, yeah? um, it's interesting. It changes, I think. As I, live life and I understand things differently and I grow and I'm like, I was tripping, or like, that makes so much sense now. Like, there are these moments when you're reflecting back, right, on what it is that you wrote, and you're like, I'm a different person now, and that hits differently now, you know.
Mm.
And so that changes quite a bit. Um, I do love the piece that, oh, I didn't share it. um, uh, there's this piece that is one of the pieces that I think might be considered a signature piece. I guess it depends on where you go, right? I perform it a lot, but it's one of my favorite pieces, Love Language, and I love that piece because I feel like it's still, despite, it being written in a time where maybe the love that originally inspired that is no longer the person, right? The love still is a true thing, right? There's still truth in what the love was. And so the love was self-sacrificing at times. The love was
Mm.
paying attention enough to what I care about to give me that. I like poetry, so send me poems. I like, you know what I mean? Because I'm not necessarily one who is like, you didn't bring me flowers and chocolates. Like, it's nice, but that's not necessarily the thing that is like essential for me. It's essential for me that you thought of me. So it's like, if you did something and it reflects that you think of me, right? And that you find ways to love me, like, that to me is what's valuable. So if it's that you took a long trip to bring me cough medicine when, like, I could have totally just like taken a quick jerk to the Rite Aid and grabbed something, and you drove hours to come and see me to like bring that to me, like, that's love. That's better to me than flowers. Like, I want that. Like, show me. You know what I mean? Show me. So I think that as far as discovery, I think that one would be for discovery, because that was me like really understanding what love looks like, right? Recovery, hmm. Recovery is really that section where it's like you realize that sometimes people who don't love correctly can mess up your thoughts and ideas about what love is and whether love is worth it or not. And so I I don't know which one is my favorite, because they all have like different impacts. Um, I think that the one that I love to perform, um, I can't even think of that one right now. I love to perform it, but it's not in the book. I have to really look for that one, Sean. You made me have to really think. Let me flip through the thing and see. But let me think about relapse. So relapse, I would say for relapse is really about, like, as much as you discover love can be hard and life can be hard. You still decide to try again. You still um, you still try again, even if it's just loving you. And I shouldn't even say just loving you, because that's the biggest one. Like, that's the most important one. So especially if it's you,
Mm.
especially if it's you. Um, and I think that, discovering that and understanding that, is part of the relapse, to understand that love is about you, and um, how you give, how you express a feeling of joy in life, with somebody or with yourself, whoever is the object of that love that you are giving, and you are, learning also, that you're not just giving, but you're also taking in, like, who are you, how does that help shape me into a better me, you know Um, so Nan, let me see. Hmm. One of the oh, oh, okay, Allegory of the Cave perhaps is one of the one of the poems that would be would be in the relapse section, where it's like lapse in judgment and now mad. uh,
Mm.
and I read it.
Yes.
All right, it's called Allegory of the Cave. It's based loosely on Plato's Allegory of the Cave. I have climbed out of the cave and seen sunlight. I have seen sunlight and now understand that the puppeteers were lying. The shadows are not reality. They are perpetrators of the real. I have broken out of the shackles and have ceased calling them bracelets. Captivity's accessories no longer hold me. I now know. The fire is not the sun, it's just an imitator. And you are not love. You are fuck in the dark with fire. You are a liar who looks bigger and more important in the dark. With the fires lit in the distance, I was in love with the shadow of you, which explains why I was never able to hold you.
Shit.
Yeah.
I'm in love with the shadow of you. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah, man.
The idea of someone, the
Yeah.
idea of the expectations.
Yeah.
I've I've gone through that, as in many others, and it's like, what does it? It's almost like, how do you want to stop doing that? You don't want to. You want to put expectations on an individual, but then you have to ask yourself, time out. Are you meeting this person halfway?
Mm-hmm.
Is meeting him halfway a detriment to you?
Right.
It's
Right.
it's different.
Complicated.
Just
Complicated. Yeah.
that just that just makes me like, I'm gonna just keep to myself for a minute and love on myself. I'm sure you've had those
Yeah.
same conversations, loving on yourself and loving on your son as well.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And he's a big inspiration because he loves art. Like he draws amazing pieces. I don't know where he will be in a couple of years because he isn't even 10 yet, and his artistry has been quite impressive. And not just as like, well, I'm the mama, so everything it makes it beautiful. It's like, nah, like he's really legit. And he studies his craft, and like he is somebody who I would say inspires me, right? Like he will go and watch YouTube videos to learn and be like, hey mom, I know how to play the Avengers theme song now. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I just learned on YouTube, mom. Okay. Yeah. Like, and so his drive and determination to perfect his craft, and not even, like legitimately not just being like, this is fun, like this is fun and I want to keep getting better. I just want to keep getting better, and so that's inspiring. Yeah, yeah,
See, to find that at such to find that now at such a young age,
yeah.
because I feel like I feel like I'm a late bloomer when it comes to this. Only finding it in high school, so it's like, it's just good to know that people are finding it at a earlier age, or that certain things they just find out a hell of a lot sooner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have one other question, one last question, and then we got our last performance. But before I get into that, I need to do some couple of plugs actually. So I'll just get that out the way right now. So if you have not already, you please subscribe to Evolu Culture's YouTube channel. We are launching a slew of programming that will come to be in 2021. So we have a lot of programming coming out in 2021, both in live stream and in uploaded videos. We have Renew continuing. We have other things that I'm not going to announce just yet. Just make sure you are subscribed to Evolu Culture on YouTube, and to follow Evolu Culture on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the updates. One last thing I will say in regards to this very show, there will actually be a rebranding. come our next show. Moving forward, next up will only air on the first Saturday of each month. So our next episode will take place on, this is how much my brain has been scattered. Thank you, pandemic. Our next episode will air on January. Whoa, what the hell? Oh, yeah. January 3rd. No, January 4th. Excuse me. Our next episode will air January 4th, the first Saturday of the month moving forward. So our next episode will be Saturday, January 4th at 7 p.m. And it will no longer be called Next Up. We are rebranding the show to exemplify a focus on poets. When the show started, a majority of the guests were poets, but we opened up to other artists as well, hip hop artists, R&B artists. That will change. And for more details on that, you got to follow us on social media. But moving forward, the show will be called Speak Poet Speak. And this will be named after, and the show will be named after the event of the same name, the tape showcase part that we streamed live during Lincoln Park Music Festival as part of Lincoln Park as part of the Lincoln Park Poetry Cafe. And I just realized as I'm saying that I lied. There's actually one more question before the last question, because there is something I wanted to ask Callie about. But yes, Speak Poets Speak will be the name of the show moving forward, and that will be Saturday, January 4th. Our first guest of 2020 will be the founder of Word Vomit Poets in New York, Lex Lyrics. So look out for that, and on the first Saturday of each month moving forward. Now, Callie, the show will be named after Speak Poet Speak. That was the taped part of the Lincoln Park Poetry Cafe of the same name. I meant to bring this up to either, but that's what happens when we just begin a conversation. But no, I wanted to get your thoughts on that, and because I've seen you there, and thank you so much for being a part of that, by the way. It was truly an honor to have you.
Thank you.
I also saw you beforehand when No Poetry Council started, and we did the poetry protest.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to get your thoughts on just navigating with everything going on, how you're navigating this as an artist, any projects that you're doing, any other projects that you're doing moving forward, where you may not have done it had it not been for the pandemic, or something that you wanted to do, but now the circumstances have pushed you to finally just take a chance. What other projects do you have, or what have you taken a chance on in general that you normally wouldn't have?
Oh man, so many things actually, or feels like so many things. One of the things I think was that is the biggest thing is that because you couldn't go in person in quite the same ways, for shows, for open mics and things like that, my need for expressing myself and getting things out, right, was hungry. It was like, feed me, Seymour, like give me chances and spaces to spit my poems. And so I found myself then starting to go on lives, on my, just start IG lives and things like that, and just like spit poems. And like if somebody came on and wanted to spit and share something, I would let them come on, or I would share pieces, or I would request like give me a page number and I'll spit the poem off of that page. Like and I found that fed me in that sense of gratifying the need to express yourself and feel that someone else is hearing you. Like I don't have a problem just reading my poetry out, but it's nice to kind of feel like somebody else might be receiving it. It brings a different level of energy to it. So I think, and that was something I wouldn't have done before I was like, I don't do lives, I don't want people to know what's happening right in the very moment. Like, how do you edit that? You can't revise and edit that. And so I was like, I don't do that. But I think that also was part of like the growing pieces of me, where it was like getting to a space of not being afraid of the imperfection, not being afraid of the imperfection, but being like, you may make a mistake. You may sound crazy. You may sound great. You may sound any level of things, but did you do what you felt to do? Like, did you do what you really at the core of yourself wanted and needed to do? Because the chance for this moment won't come again, right?
Yes.
Something else might happen. You may have other opportunities, but this one won't happen again. So what, like, what are you going to do with it? And being forgiving too when you miss those opportunities and saying, okay, what does that mean for you? What did you learn from this? How are you going to move forward? And so I think that that's something. I think also because of pandemic, I was making more jewelry at a certain point, because I was home, to do that more so during the summer, but still getting back into it now. And I would say mostly those things, but the biggest impact has been the lives, because I've been able to connect with some amazing poets from other states through these lives. And I've had an opportunity to connect people who are artists from New Jersey with artists who are from other places by sharing their lives and being like, hey, you need to check this person out. Like, you need to know what they do in Newark, in New Orleans, you know what I mean? So like, I like that idea of like people getting to be like, oh, wow, there's another one where it's like, it's not about the competition of it so much as like, here's another way that expression looks.
Another way that expression looks. That's been like the goal. That's been the gist of it. What does it look like? Whether it be open mic, slam, showcase, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
So once again, next up, the next episode of Next Up, first of all, will be renamed Speak Poets Speak, and will take place Saturday, January 4th, and we'll move on the first Saturday of each month afterward. So with that said, for maybe the final time I ask this in this form, Mwikali words.
Yes.
What does it mean for you to be next up?
I think next up for me is about being in tune with what's the next thing for my life. And I think that connects to your other question, your previous question, like what has pandemic allowed the opportunity for? A lot of self-reflection, a lot of sitting with myself and thinking about like, who am I and who do I want to be, and putting a check on myself if I'm like, you want this and what are you doing about it? Like, if you want this to come out, like and you asked about projects, and I don't think I got fully into that, but there's a second book that is done and just needs final edits, and I've designed the cover for it and just need to finalize what that's supposed to look like, and it's there. So it's a matter of just saying, all right, you did the hardest part, like finish it. And so just driving forward, I think in those ways and spaces has been important. And next up means like, how are you leveling up? As much as the song may have been played quite a bit, level up is a real thing. Like really do level up. And if you have to do something with your arms to remind yourself, do it, whatever it is, but do it, move forward, level up, upgrade you, do all of the things that mean that you are in connection with yourself enough to know that you have the potential to be more boss than you already are. So do it. You don't know what you at another level of boss will do for somebody else, so boss up so that you can see how that helps somebody else so they could boss up. You know what I mean? In whatever ways that means, whether that boss up means they love themselves better, cool. Whether boss up means that they give more of their time in spaces where there is need, cool. Whether it means that they are a mentor for somebody else, knowing it or not knowing it, because people are always watching, right? That you are helping somebody else sometimes, and it's not just you, right? But the extra people are the perks. You're the most important. Get it done for you. So that's next up for me.
Yeah. Damn, you made me patient. Jeez. Thank you so much. I'm going to mute myself one more time to
All
give
right.
you the floor for your final piece, as well as share all your social media, and I will come back on to do the same for us. For the final time, next up, Mwikali words.
Thank you, Sean. I dedicate this final piece to all of those of you who are listening to this, wherever you are. I encourage you to love yourself, to dream, to grow, to go. Lights low, offering up an amber aura in the living room, letting there be lights, keeping the atmosphere appropriate for creation. Let there be lights. Wait till the night has nothing more to do. Then let you be with you and your thoughts and the couch you deem throne, that you might be properly propped for your crowning achievements. Let there be incense offering up sensual scent and smoke to pair with elevation. It's a groove. It's a move away from your past things to do, fast paced list of things to do and places to be. It's a chance to dance your gel ink across pages that have always been your safest spaces. It's a rhythm. The beat matches life song, matches the humming that happens when you take heart. The beat be breaking barriers around the brain and letting thought flow free. Mental soliloquy. It's a rhythm that rights the wrongs of the weak and puts strong hands to tense places and opens up a space for wings to grow when you're ready for them. Here, where candlelight provides enough fire to ignite an internal review on how you are, lets you be the star of your concerns, and congratulations on sometimes being the bright of the best constellations. You be a compilation of light and love. Here you remember who you are and what this is. It's a groove. Stretch before you break into your newest move. Stretch. Growth begins with the stretching of muscle and mind, so stretch. Flexibility makes for less fear. Stretch and find yourself unfractured by the festivities, because it's a groove, it's a vibe, it's what victory feels like when you put the pieces of you back together again, and the bass from your deepest self booms, and the soprano of your soul breaks glass ceilings, and you find yourself. You find yourself flowing out of glasses half full into spaces once empty. Reciprocity be the rhythm, gratitude be the groove, life be the stage. You be the creators of the script on the page. Here you remember to act accordingly. Thank you. Yay! Yeah.
Social media, as Steven Strickland would say.
Social media. All right. So you can find me at Kali Wordbird, which is on the screen right there, right there. You can also find me at Mwikali Words on IG, at the Kali Made Collection, also on IG. You can find my collection also on Facebook, same name, Mwikali Words. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something great out of it. Sean, I am so grateful for this opportunity, and just for what you do as far as just bringing people in the community together to share their work, share their art, and allow others to have the opportunity, right, to sip from the nectar of the boss, just beautiful aura that is art in work. Much appreciation.
Thank you so much for that, and we need for you and for others like you is why we do that. So, Callie, thank you as always for your ascension. We will have you back at some point with another program that I'm not going to speak on just yet, but you will see Mwikali Words on Evolu Culture Programming in 2021 once again. My name is Sean Battle. You can find me on Instagram at Battle Sean Battle. I spell Sean Sean. I'm on Clubhouse as well, Sean Battle. There may or may not be programming coming that way once I figure out, what the app can be useful for. But follow me there. As far as this, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter, the YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment, share this video so that we can get to the monetized level. Hint, hint, support Black businesses. And the .com, where you can buy this merch right here, massive collection, or any of my books. Also on the site, 50% off your entire checkout cart, 70% on one item if you use the promo code BLAST. It's all the same. EVOLUCULTURE. Evolu Culture. Follow us, Catch these vibes.
Yeah.
Peace out, y'all. And no matter what you go through, may you always